I'm on screen, man.
What? Why are you on screen?
Hey, everyone.
Welcome back to the Opposition Podcast special live stream, because these days we can't seem to get Rukshan on an actual live stream. So how exciting. Rukshan, how you been, mate?
I have been very good, busy, but also excited to be back doing a live with you. I feel like every time I commit to coming to a week after, I disappear. So, but this one's important, right? The debate, the second debate. So I'm happy to do the special live stream. So it's a good of fun.
Did you hear
Getting a bit of
this?
feedback here.
These days,
You're a bit rusty there, Avi.
damn. No, I'm actually just sharing it, and it's from my
Yeah.
phone. It's done it, but
We should do while you do that, maybe guys, if you're watching on any of the platforms right now, just let us know if our audio levels are good, before we start the night. That would be awesome, so we can get all the technical things out of the way and make sure everything's good to go. Got a couple of comments coming through, and Avi, it'd be good if you can get the comments on the screen later today as well.
I'm going to be I'm going to be doing comments, especially now because I got my
Today will be comment heavy, I think, because a lot of it will be watching what the two candidates who are vying for leadership of Australia are going to be saying. So we'll be getting a lot of your comments up on the screen. Please try not to direct all your comments towards Avi and asking him questions about random things which has nothing to do with Australia and the election. I see a lot of those type of comments. But yeah, look, it should be interesting watching. And we'll get more to that, actually. I think we're going to spend the next 20 or so minutes, Avi, just having a bit of a chat after you're done doing whatever you're doing. You just left me on the screen. So hi, everyone.
I'm sharing it around. You should be doing it here. You want me to be on screen with you? Do you feel lonely? Guys,
No,
join us in sharing it around.
Yeah,
whatever
share it around, guys.
whatever platform
What,
you're watching it on. But to be honest, YouTube, we're going to have to cut it early because of the copyright rules. So best to join us on X, Rumble. Those are the two safest platforms, or obviously the opposition.show. There'll be a current feed going there.
yeah.
I'm just going to
Yeah, I
share it
think
around
X is probably the best place to watch this later on and
because you
have
can
your
get
comments
it.
coming through.
Your comments come through.
Yeah, your comments come through on X. So I think Facebook as well, it'll come through. Definitely if you're watching on Facebook, guys. But yeah, X, join Elon Musk's platform if you have not. Yeah, so as soon as Avi is ready to go, we'll be jumping straight into it.
Well,
But
tell us what
make
you're
sure you
thinking
put,
about tonight. You're not even doing anything. Tell us what you're thinking about tonight. What are you
what
expecting
am I
tonight?
thinking about? Well, I'm expecting tonight in terms of the debate. I watched the first debate, and I was a bit muffled by the fact that the audience that were watching that night, the Sky News debate, said that Albanese actually won the debate. I thought Peter Dutton was definitely more commanding and actually spent a lot more time answering questions, whereas Anthony Albanese, especially during the Sky News debate, spent a lot of time just fluffing up the audience, telling stories about his friends with truckies and all this kind of nonsense that really doesn't go to the heart of the questions that people are asking him as a leader now for 4 years. So he spent a lot of time waffling about, and I hope today maybe we might get more substantive answers from Albanese. So I thought Dutton on the first debate, even though his father had a heart attack just moments before him actually coming on that day, did a pretty good job as a debater or answering people's questions. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because especially now that we know, when we're looking at all the polls and all the media coverage, Albanese's looking like he's got it in. He's looking good, and Dutton's under a bit of pressure. He's walked back to a few things as well. There's been a couple of slip-ups for the Liberal Party in terms of disendorsing candidates and going back on the work from home policy that they were going to push through, where they wanted to cancel those type of things, arrangements. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Albanese attacks Dutton, I think, in this regard, because I feel like today Albanese might go in for the kill the best as he can. Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to seeing tonight, Avi. I'm looking forward to seeing a more lively debate, because whatever they did at Sky News, the town hall format, whatever, just didn't work. It wasn't entertaining. I thought it was too short, and it didn't really address a lot of the things that people want to talk about, because that's a lot of the comments I've seen online afterwards, is that the questions that people have about cost of living, especially about immigration, that an issue that comes up a lot, those weren't really discussed in a way that people were happy with. And also, I feel like last debate's audience, the Sky News audience, felt like a Q&A audience.
It was so weird, wasn't it?
From the ABC. It was so weird watching that. It was so surreal. Not that we should have biased audiences because of Sky News, right?
That one felt biased, to be honest.
But it felt completely like we were watching Q&A, and you had these kind of plants in there. And it turns out, I think they did hire the same company. I've heard this. I can't confirm it, but they use the same company that finds people to go to watch the Q&A, because obviously no ordinary person would want to go and watch Q&A. You have to find those type of people.
But also, it's like Western Sydney. And I think today's Western Sydney
it could be that. Is it really?
I think so. Yeah, it's in their Western Sydney studios.
They just don't care about Victoria. They don't want to come to Victoria for the debate. Change up the states, or we don't matter.
Victoria's ready. They know. They're sure. It's locked in.
It's locked in. Labor, Labor and Greens, socialist socialist hellhole of Victoria.
I'm getting worried about this election.
Well, I mean, I was feeling very good about it all. I'm sure many people were at the start, like that it could be a very close race, and we might have some type of very intense battle there for the leadership of Australia, and maybe some of the minor parties, maybe the more right-leaning minor parties as well, would get in and kind of balance it up a little bit towards Liberals. That's what I would personally like. Don't hide that online when I'm talking about these things. My disdain for the Labor Party and the policies that have, I think, wrecked Australia over the last couple of years.
Yeah,
it's been disastrous. So to see a change in this country would be good, but it feels like people want more of Albanese. That's the sense I'm getting, or people are just disengaged They're not really following along. For whatever reason, they seem to be happy with the status quo of how their life is going and how the future looks as well. Because you have to understand, the Labour Party and the Greens, who seem to be doing well right now. If you're worried about immigration right now, well, those guys are for more immigration, and it feels like it's a disconnect between what I'm hearing online and the way that the election is going, where it seems to heading again to a Labour government somehow. So that's on the polls, though. That's on
who
the polls.
knows? That's
Who
true.
knows? That's all on the polls. So I don't know if we've really had. I think I remember that election between is it Bill Shorten and Tony Abbott, or was it Scott Morrison? I can't remember. But the polls were kind of leaning towards Shorten, and there was a bit of a, it went towards the Liberal guy. So it could be like that. But just even out in the wild, when I'm talking to people, like a lot of people are disengaged. Not us on X and people who watch politics and kind of follow it closely, but ordinary people are very disengaged from whatever these guys are doing. So, maybe it might just be the status quo and the people are happy with it. Are you done sharing? And
I'm done sharing, guys.
Shilling your post.
Yeah, look, mate, you got to relax, all right? Everybody needs to relax. By the way,
do you like blue? I put blue in the background for Liberal.
Do you like that? What do you reckon?
Defund the politicians.
Hold on. Where is it? I haven't done this in a while because you haven't been here. This is what we do.
Defund the politicians. I don't know, man. Now that I'm a part of the cogs
You're part of the
Canberra,
system. You're worried about your funding, guys. You can get one of these t-shirts and check out all the new merch at therebelstore.com.au. I reckon we use Albo and Dutton to sell our merch tonight.
Well, yeah, rebelstore.com.au.
But you do make a good point. I think that it could be interesting tonight because last week, clearly, Dutton had a family emergency. And I often walk into these things and I try to be as objective as possible. I try not to judge them based on what I guess I want and what I really feel is happening. So, in the election, in the lead up to Trump, when I traveled to America, I was sure it's Trump because I got a feel for the vibe. At the moment here, yes, people hate Labor. I'm not completely sold. This is definitely not going to it's definitely not going to be a landslide victory.
Yeah.
In America, I was sure it was Trump. The only thing that made me question anything was their system. Here, I don't know, but I do think, objectively, he won the last debate. Not by much. I don't think he killed it.
But
I feel like it was clear. I should have done it. We didn't do this watch party, but we should have gone and counted, like out of every person that asked a question, how many were obviously left leaning, obviously
90%.
anti-liberal.
90%.
And I would say it had to be around 90%. So it was. They were trying to act like they're not.
I mean, some of them just gave it away. There was that guy that was talking about the universities and all this kind of stuff, and at the end he's like, he's worried about his son's university placement, and at the end he's like, well, Australia should have more foreigners come, and that's what we want to do for the university system. So obviously he's gone there with a preconceived thing. There was a teacher from like a teachers union, nodding along the whole time. There was a few kind of immigrants in there that had a bit of hard time speaking English that a lot of people brought up as well. Take that as you may, but obviously they're leaning a certain way as well, based on how they're asking these questions. So it was very obvious that these people were not really the type of audience that would be voting Liberal anyway. So, for Dutton to win in that audience with that vote, I think it would have been really hard anyway. For us watching along at home, just watching in terms of a debate performance, I thought he just did much better. I think that's what I meant. Not that he won over people in that room, but as a debater and answering questions,
I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you. He didn't win the people in the room because he was never going.
You can't win those.
He wasn't going to win them exactly.
But that's the thing. The Liberal Party, I think, are obsessed with trying to win people like that. That's why they're struggling. I don't really believe I don't know what they stand for. I don't know, kind of even with their policies, it's kind of lukewarm on certain issues. They don't go for the full jugular. Immigration is just like 20% less than Labor. Everything's just like a little bit less than Labor. You know what I mean? So I think they don't really set a core message that can be transformative for Australia that people pay attention to. It's kind of no one really cares about the stuff that they're trying to sell people, and you're seeing them struggle. And I think that's why the polls are reflecting that, because I think
Apparently, Friendly
enthusiasm.
Geordies is live
Yeah,
streaming now, ranting about me.
he's ranting about your Friendly Geordies. That's
Should we,
good.
should we go? Should we go over and check?
You should bring on the Friendly Geordies live stream. Can you do that?
A flower for that. A super chat from. Let's see this.
Mate, there's some crazy comments coming through anyway. Some hateful comments as well.
Do you think Australia will have a civil war like Iran? I don't know.
No, we won't have a civil war like
Guys,
Iran.
I'm going to run more of the comments through the actual debate so I can focus on it.
No, we won't have a civil war like Iran. I'm just going to answer that question because it was a super chat. The Australian people are so apathetic to everything. Like people, like this kind of fair go thing and not really caring about what happens around them. That's why we get a lot of the policies that we get. I think people are really disinterested in what happens in this country. So, I don't think there's people, a very small majority of people in this country who are willing to fight for anything. Not even just a war. I'm just saying in general, for a better life for themselves in Australia. It's very unlikely this country will have a civil war. Just to answer that question.
That good answer. Look, actually, what I'm going to do is until we actually start the debate, so about 10 minutes, I'll just put the super chats up, because then we're going to close YouTube because there's a issue with copyright. So, guys, if you want to have your thing on screen now until it starts, just at the super chat, hey Avi and Rukshan, thank you. So I don't have to watch ABC. Welcome. We're glad to save you from that pain, although we're going to be watching ABC together. So I guess it's like a group counselling. Group
struggle session.
Look, I've got my whiskey with me.
We're in it together.
I've got a whiskey with me to get me through it. Where's your gin and tonic?
I have a red drink.
What is it?
Schweppes Agrium soft drink only.
You're making me look like an alcoholic. Cheers, mate.
Cheers. Red for Labor, and we've got blue in the background for Liberals. There you go.
So you're drinking the red. You're drinking it.
Yeah, and look, we're looking at another, kind of this uni party debate. We have this country where it's almost like, Labor and Liberal, that's it. That's the only options. Even the media presents it kind of in that way, although they talk about the Greens and the Teals a lot. When it comes to debates, we don't really hear from anyone else. I know they're not running for prime minister, but you don't really hear from all the other alternative parties, the smaller parties, the minor parties. You never get to hear from them, their policies. The Australian people never get to hear from them on their, publicly funded ABC platform. You never hear from the Libertarian Party or Trumpet of Patriots or One Nation. Where's their voice when it comes to the ABC? Why aren't they being presented a platform as well? You have to ask these questions because it rarely happens. Well, I don't think it's ever happened really, and it's crazy that the amount of work that has to be done by these smaller parties to get their message out there, because a juggernaut that is the Liberal and Labor Party, the Uni Party, has such a hold over the whole process. Yeah. Anyway, that was just my rant about the whole thing.
That's a good rant, guys. There's 3,000 people with us now. Just so you know, I can see a lot of you are on YouTube and Facebook. We're going to shut them off in about 9 minutes as the debate begins. I'm actually going to move over. So make sure that you either go to X on both mine and Rukshan's. We have feeds running. Go to Rumble, the Rebel News Rumble, or go to the direct link on the opposition.show, or you go to if you go to any of the socials, I've put there's a direct link to the page that lets you get to it, and it'll have the live feed running there the whole time. So it's going to be on Rumble, X, or the Rebel News. I'll just check it's on the homepage of Rebel News as well.
Well, Chuck, tell us in the comments, guys, before we kind of hop off the main platforms. Do you want to just watch party, or do you want us to interrupt here and there and maybe criticize some of the things they're saying or laugh at them? We'll try not to do it too much at all. But who knows the kind of if Anthony Albanese,
If someone says something good,
yeah. But okay, well, how about this, Harvey? If Anthony Albanese talks about the commission flats, the housing flats, you got to skull that drink straight up. All right. Anything about commission flats, we skull our drinks.
I don't have many drinks, but commission flats.
That's good.
Anything about censorship? I don't know. Hopefully, we get to use this at one point. What's this one? Oh, if Dutton actually does something, all right.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
Yeah. That's good.
Okay. What was I doing? I was just wanting to check that it's on the Rebel homepage to make it easy for people. Daniel, I know Daniel's watching, so Daniel, maybe make sure that it's easy for people to find. If you go to rebelnews.com.au, you'll be able to get directly to it, I believe. So either do that, Rumble, X, that's the platforms that will keep it going. Once the debate actually starts, to avoid copyright issues, we're going to do that. We're going to cancel the other one, so you'll just see them go. I might just put it... that could help you. That's the actual website, but I don't know if you need to be a subscriber. Let's check.
Yeah, I reckon X. I mean, check the website. It might be open. Otherwise, you got to subscribe to RV.
No, there's a way you can get, if you have the direct link, you can get to it.
Okay.
Which is on all the socials of Rebel. There's a direct link that's been posted everywhere. That's the link. That.
Yeah, there's some Sri Lankans watching as well. I can see in the comments. There you go.
Should we kick him out?
Hey, Shavi, thanks for watching.
Again, so for those of you, the millions of you out there and thinking, how can I have a cool t-shirt like Avi? Defund the politicians and drain the swamp, which Rukshan is a part of.
I understand why there's a swamp now, definitely. I've had first-hand insight into the swamp.
Do we have any other super chats? Oh, there's a few super chats. I'll just get to them before. What do we got? This is a pretty bleak point. Life never gets better regardless of the party. What do you reckon?
That's true. That's true. But, at the end of the day, these incremental policies that we have, every decade or so from these parties, they do have transformative changes in the country. Like, people today as an issue, people talk about immigration a lot. And everyone I hear online says, well, we never voted for this and it just kind of happened out of nowhere and this and that. But I feel like if people actually paid attention to politics, these things are happening. They're happening. It's just people don't really get together and vote in a way that, helps them guide the country in the direction that they want to go into. That's got a lot to do with our system of politics, obviously. We're not really similar to the US in the sense where policies like become these major talking points. I feel like, when watching the American election, Avi, like you were there, like the border was like a massive issue. Like, that could turn the election. This time around, I don't really feel like we have that issue in Australia, like these kind of major things. We do have issues like that, but it's not really brought up in that same way where it's like the policy of one side or the other could, change the future of the country. It's not really discussed in those terms. It's very kind of, there's this guy, he says the same thing, and this other guy says the same thing, but, which one is better? Who do you want to vote for? It's something like that happens in Australia.
Yeah. Well, it does always seem like it's a race to the bottom with them, not... if you're looking for policies that you're going to really love, you got to look at the minor parties.
Yes.
And, hope that they hold the balance of power. And I think that's what the left is hoping, and that's what the right's hoping. And I'm praying to God that it's not the left that's holding the balance of power, because then we're really, really, really screwed. We have another one here, which is, What is it? Let's see. Avian Rukshan, who has your vote? Sorry, new subscriber. Look, Rukshan, unlike me, he's not an independent thinker anymore. He is paid by the system.
I'm a part of the system. But look, I am going to be voting this election for the trumpet of patriots. Closely linked, of course, to the United Australia Party as well. And, that's just kind of goes with the territory that I'm in now. But at the end of the day, I think
does your boss Lydia Thorpe let you?
She's not running this time around, right?
No,
I don't think she'll make it if she was. But look, I think just want to get my 2 cents in. I think any of the minor parties, which are more conservative or right-leaning, centre-right, if you vote for those minor parties and you put, the Liberals and Labor last, obviously the Greens last, and any teal coloured variations last as well, I think you're doing a bit. That's really the way that a lot of us who are following this closely are thinking. So in that way, yes, our votes go towards the minor parties and not supporting the uniparty. But a lot of Australians, I don't think, really think in those terms. They're usually voting between Labor and Liberal, and that's the kind of message you want to get out there to people. That look, there is other options. I'm not telling you how to vote, but look at what these minor parties are saying. Look at what Odd Nation is saying. Look at what Trumpets of Patriots are saying. Family first, the Libertarians, who are very doing a lot of marketing these days as well. So you got to look at all these options. So that's the way that I think elections should be done. But sadly, like I said before, ABC don't really give them any airtime. Anyway, Avi, what about yourself? Who are you voting for? If you want to tell people.
It's definitely going to be the minor parties, minor right-wing parties. But I'll do them in different order. We'll see who's actually running in my electorate. I don't even know who the candidates are. I'll base it on that. I think we're going to bring it up on screen. Look, guys, in a few minutes, we're going to end up closing those YouTube feeds. So make sure to move over to X or Rumble or the link below the YouTube, in the YouTube thing that you're watching now, or even the Facebook, there is a link, I think. Oh no, it takes you to the opposition.show, sorry. I should have put a direct link, sorry. Go to any of the Rebel News channels and social media, and there is a direct link, or go to the website, go to rebelnews.com.au, and you'll have a direct link to a feed that should be running. But for now, let's tune in.
Yeah, tune in. Have they started?
Well, they haven't started.
She's talking nonsense.
But would you rather listen to her or us?
Let's see.
I've got a question for
ABC propaganda.
Question for Peter Dutton.
I've got a question for both.
Starting, guys. Rumble,
what are you
Twitter,
going to do to help my children own a home
Rumble,
in the future?
Twitter,
How
or
will his
the
government
opposition
will
dot
support
show.
new
All of the
businesses?
channels
So
are
my
going to have
question
to close
is, when are you
due
going to lower the cost of living for young
sorry, we
people?
can't do fair
Wanting
use
to
because we'd have
know
to stop it too
how
much.
people can believe you about your